think someone read the Ted Williams book that he once used an axe handle to train in the off season, and that got someone to think about a patent and the beauty of patents that happened. And the hard part then was, how in the world do you make a baseball bat with an axe handle, since nobody had ever done that?
Yeah, that's something that we definitely don't take lightly. We're all pretty proud of the fact that, at least on our whole product team, especially when we get new prototypes in or we do design a new bat, the first thing we do is we're taking it out to the cage and hitting on hit tracks. We're not
What's the most common thing you hear from the hitters after they swing an axe bat? And welcome to the Batter Up, the podcast where we swing for the fences in every episode. I'm your host, Tyler, and today we're joined by two special guests from Axe Bat. If you're unaware, Axe is one of the leading manufacturers in baseball and softball bats around the world. And today I'm joined by Trevor Stocking, who is the Director of Product Marketing, and Kyle Hodge, who's the lead engineer for all the latest bats. So without further ado, welcome to the show, Trevor and Kyle.
Thanks for having us.
Yeah,
appreciate it.
Yeah, of course. Why don't we start off real quick? And you guys just tell us what it is you do for Axe.
What don't we do for Axe, I guess, right? Is the question. What don't we all do these days? I think it's telling the story of what our team and Axe can do for our customers, and taking that story back from the customers and making sure that it kind of comes over in our brand and in our products is kind of a part of what I do. I also get to work with our pro players, which is kind of a fun side of it with our major league players, and a whole lot of other things in terms of product. So that's my side, and Kyle gets to build it.
Nice.
Yep. Yeah, I'm a product and testing engineer here, so I'm here in our state-of-the-art laboratory here with all of our fancy bat testing machinery. So I help run this operation here in the lab, along with the engineering side that I split up with a few of my colleagues here, building the bats from the ground up. So.
Now, as like a kid that grew up just loving the game of baseball, and obviously someone that still does,
yep.
Both of your jobs sound like almost too good to be true. Like Trevor, you're working alongside pros. Kyle, you're building the bats. Like these sound like amazing jobs.
Yeah, I mean, other than we all wanted to be a Major League Baseball player, right? At some point, It didn't happen. This is probably the next closest thing. And when my kids ask, what do you do all day and what are you doing? It's kind of fun to talk about bats and get that side. So definitely one of the cooler jobs in the neighborhood, I would say. So
I think I was Major League Baseball player number 1 and mascot number 2, and this came in somewhere around the number 3 on my list. But we're lucky to be here. I mean, I think I told people I was going to do some variety of this job all the way since high school. I didn't really have a plan how to actually get here, but it worked out for both Trevor and I, and here we are making bats and having a good time. So
I think
that's great.
My dad was a high school baseball coach. So I was the bat boy by the time I was 3. So it's kind of been brainwashed and get to keep doing it. So good times.
Oh, I love it. I love it. Okay. So tell us a little bit. I don't know who could speak to this. Maybe this is more for Trevor. Can you provide a little bit of the backstory of how Axe got started? Like how did Axe come about?
Baden Sports is our parent company, and they've been an innovator in the sport for 40 plus years. I mean, they were the first to bring the women's basketball to the market and different things like that. So in a sense, they've always been looking for, new products that can disrupt, I'd say, even in sport. And we knew we wanted to get into baseball bats and softball bats. And we got pitched I think someone read the Ted Williams book that he once used an axe handle to train in the off season, and that got someone to think about a patent and the beauty of patents that happened. And the hard part then was, how in the world do you make a baseball bat with an axe handle, since nobody had ever done that? So kind of took that on as a team, starting in about 2010 or so. Starting that development, and kind of from the ground up, a family-owned company, small business in Seattle, and have really kind of taken on really inventing this whole new world of designing a bat for the player's swing. We have 7 or 8 different handles that our major league players use. So customizing handles for their swing. And then Kyle's fun part is, since we know where you're hitting the ball every time with an axe handle, you get to build the barrels and new technology a little different than everybody else. So really, over the last 10 years or so, it's been inventing a new way to build bats that are better for players and making life interesting for engineers like Kyle to have these new challenges. So that's kind of really where it was, a group of baseball, softball players, athletes that kind of, the classic thing of, oh, I wish I had this when I was growing up, or doing it better than what we did, since we all didn't make it to the major leagues, and just finding a better way to connect with baseball and softball community through new bats and new technology.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Kyle, talk to us. What's it like to build? I mean, basically it's a one-of-a-kind product.
It is.
I mean, you guys have the patent, you have the axe handle. What's it like to build out a bat that, I mean, the competition just looks different.
Mm-hmm.
It swings different. What's that like as an engineer?
Yeah, it's a big advantage for sure. It's definitely a world is our oyster situation, because we can kind of attack every single problem differently. They're making bats with round handles for a very long time. And of course, first designing and making and manufacturing these axe handles probably had its challenges from the get-go, or it did have its challenges, I should say. But now that we've kind of been in the business, for a decade, more or less now, we're definitely starting to kind of see the rewards from kind of the difference that we bring to the market.
That's awesome.
I think we had, when we first started working on the wood side, we had people on our team whittling the designs of the handles, trying to find what was best for the player, the swing, really, going as raw as possible, and then going back to the major league players to be like, do you like this? Do you like this? And, then going back to the hotel and whittling some more. And I mean, to start at that level of truly getting after it, we started from the ground up, and today are doing things that we probably only dreamed of back then. So it's pretty neat.
That's incredibly neat. And it's incredibly bold
Yeah.
to take on something that is essentially reinventing the wheel in a lot of ways. Like, this is baseball bats. You look back, and Rawlings is 140 plus years old and has been making the same shape forever. And you guys are taking something and looking at it through a completely different lens. So for those of you that don't know, axe has a completely different shaped bat. And that starts from the handle. Trevor touched on it there with the Ted Williams portion, where it's an axe handle at the bottom. And now I want to kick it over to you guys as the experts. Could you tell us from that axe handle, like working up the bat, and can you speak on like what the benefits are and what you guys have seen going to a different style of handle with it?
Yeah, I think when people first hear axe, they think of like the old axe where it's, you're striking wood and trying to break that. But really what we've done is ergonomically, there's a better way to hold the bat so that you have, a better grip, but you can also get more bat speed and better control, which we all know is kind of the key to everything. And with a round handle, the design really limits that. And with our patent and the axe handle, we have an oval bottom hand. So that if I was going to grip something, I want to make sure that I have the most grip possible, but not gripping it as hard as I can, right? So that I can also then gain speed and have more control. That bottom hand is kind of locked in with our swing. It kind of directs, it controls everything. The top hand should also be independent, though, to be able to direct the bat wherever we want. So part of that handle starts at the bottom, and it really locks in your bottom hand, but also gives you freedom to be more dynamic, almost like the benefit that you get with if you're choking up on a round handle bat. You get that at the full length of a bat. That's kind of allowed us to adjust to different players, like we touched on earlier. If I want more freedom in my swing, or I need more lift, we have a flared handle that's a little bit, has more flare. It's a little bigger, but it has, no knob, where you have true freedom and whip through the zone. So we can not only have one handle like Mookie Betts and, could name drop 20 people, Dansby Swanson, Jordan Alvarez, George Springer. They use kind of our classic standard handle that gives you more control and gives you more speed. Whereas our flared handle, it really started with Giancarlo Stanton wanting a bigger handle, and then kind of evolved into Carlos Correa wanting more freedom, and then Chris Bryant wanting a combination of both. and kind of evolved into our BB Core, baseball handle as well. So all kinds of fun things that we can do with it, but ultimately it gives you a better grip and allows you to have better bat speed and control through your swing.
Look at that. And I think based on those names you just dropped, you just brought a lot of credibility to what's going on over there with Axe, because I mean, you're talking about all-star after all-star that are using this at their peak in their career. So for those of you listening out there, if you've never swung one, I highly recommend at least giving it a shot and trying it, because it'll completely change the way you're thinking about your swing.
I played, we all played baseball. I used a round handle growing up. There wasn't an axe handle when we were growing up, and we all did fine. But when you start seeing these pro players who, people are sometimes worried to try something new, right? They're afraid that it's going to hurt their performance, or they might feel like they're different. And if that's a T-ball player or a youth player, even BB Core player, when you look at these major league players who are making $40, $50 million, we couldn't pay them enough to force them to use an axe handle, right? These guys are making switches in games that day. Like Mookie Betts was given a bat by Dustin Pedroia, started using it the next day, and has never used a different bat ever since. Like, that's crazy. If those guys can be bold enough, like use that word bold, if our 100 plus major league players can be bold enough to use it in game and perform at a really high level, it makes it easy to think about what you can do if you kind of give it a chance on, the USA side, the U-Trip side, BB Core side. So like you said, there is some boldness that you need to have in being the first or being different. But what we've found with, the swing, the data, and everything that's new, you have a chance to perform at even higher levels. The data that we're seeing from the major league players when they switch from, we look at the 50 at-bats before and the 50 at-bats after, or the 100 at-bats before and the 100 at-bats after. The difference in their slugging percentage, their ability to control their barrel and make contact in the zone, the data is sky high, and we're now working with front offices because of the data. It's crazy. So long story short, it's kind of interesting to see what can happen if you risk and try something new.
Yeah. It's paying out right there. Now one thing I do want to touch on with the metal bats in particular, one thing you'll notice with the axe bats is it doesn't all, like, the barrel is also different. Or at least the end cap is noticeably different. It's not a sheared off cylinder like you're used to. Kyle, I want to throw it your way and just talk to us about what that's like and what the point is of that.
Yeah, so our hyper width end cap that we have now, like you just mentioned, it's on the majority of our models now. That's all has to do with, our basically 270 degree hitting face, we'd call it. Since we're always, whether you're a lefty or a righty, you're always going to be impacting the same face of the batter. You're never going to be impacting at least that 90 degree that we'd call like directly on the spine. So because of that, weight savings is such a huge thing in this game, whether it's a youth bat where you're trying to make a drop 12, or an adult bat where you're trying to at least be able to use this extra weight for, basically in the barrel where you want it. Being able to save weight at the end gap is huge for us. So we know where the ball is going to impact. We can be strong and place all of our energy basically in the front face, and then we can save as much weight as possible in the rear end. So that's what you see from the geometry. It's modeled after like an airfoil or like an airplane wing. So it was very technically modeled, and we're to the point now where I think we're saving as much weight as possible while also being aerodynamic is a little bit of a smaller aspect of it. But it's definitely a game changer for us, and has been the last few years.
That's wild. The airplane wing is so cool.
Yeah.
I love the way that I can tell your guys' brains are always moving when you're looking at this stuff. It's not continually trying to squeeze out the sponge, and so to speak. It's finding new ways to look at the way that we hit, look at the way the human body hits. It's such a fascinating science that you guys are implementing over there. Continuing on, I do want to get to those new bats you guys have out, the 2024 line, but let's just go back just for a quick second. Could each of you give me your favorite axe bat from the past and a brief portion of why?
Sure. I've got, I can't help but say two. Our USSSA slow pitch bat, I think, has been a pretty big game changer for us. I think people are seeing that it's top of the industry performance, along with the fact that it holds barrel compression, which for those tournament and ABC players is a really big deal. So that was a huge one. And then I think our last couple of hybrid models in both the BB Core and the USA space, where it really kind of combines a couple of our best technologies when you consider our shock suspension, which is our connection technology that eliminates vibration, we think is as good or better than anybody else in the industry, along with what we call our CNC precision barrel tech, where we're defining every single tenth of a millimeter across the entirety of the barrel that's being CNC machined. So we're really seeing the best performance and just the best feeling bats is what's really the most crucial in those categories. So you'll see those technologies kind of continue to come out through the years, but when we debuted shock suspension, I think that was definitely kind of a big coming to moment for us, where we kind of arrived on the USA scene, and BB Core scene.
I'll give you two fun ones, I think. First one would be, I have a son who plays. We have a 11-year-old travel team. So our Avenge Pro, this new one, the 3, but the Avenge Pro, the last one, the blue one, is hot as heck. He hit his some home runs with it. So to see your kid dropping bombs with it, and then we ended up having the whole team kind of go on it, and then you'd have other teams start using the bat. So that bat really, I think we only lost 4 or 5 games or whatever this year. So that was a lot of fun to see a bat that we're building and see it in action as a real customer. And I think the second one would be on the major league side. We talked about that handle for Chris Bryant. We invented a new handle for his swing. I went over to, I live in Chicago, so I went over to Wrigley, dropped it off to him right before they left on a trip to Arizona. He hadn't used it yet, and he broke a round handle bat in his first at bat. The bat boy came out and handed him the bat that I gave him. First pitch swing was a home run. And I'm watching on TV like, I can't believe that just happened. I'm like, it was pretty cool. So that Chris Bryant Axe wood bat with that flared handle is definitely a pretty cool first bat too.
Those are awesome, like personal accounts too. Like to see your work or to see the whole team's work come to fruition right there. In such a personal way. That's, of course, those stand out. That's awesome. Mm-hmm. And I knew you were going to talk about the Avenge Pro there, because last year you were very excited about that blue one, and all the feedback we got from it too was, I mean, the word hot was used in most every review that we got. So looking forward now at the latest lineup here, you all just released the 2024 Axe Bats. Talk to us briefly about just a couple of those that might stand out and the kind of players that could benefit from it.
I think it's a whole new, we came out with a whole new logo and kind of what we're doing with that side, which maybe we'll talk about in a little bit, but to kind of have a new energy and new pace, I think the bats really match that. And so you have these really loud, bright bats that show personality and are really bold. I think, again, used that word earlier. With Axe, we're really bold with what we're trying to do, because that's what the players are doing. So I think the graphics, the energy that we're kind of showing with it, the excitement, I think that'll carry over onto the field. With, again, my kids' team, it's definitely been blowing up pretty wild. So they keep calling it the cotton candy bat, this Avenge Pro 3 U-Trip bat. But, I won't speak too much for Kyle, but I think we started, every bat is new. So it's Avenge Pro 3, Strato 2. What we're doing, it's a complete new bat. Everything that we did, we started from the ground up, 2 or 3 plus year development cycle. And, these bats now have, new technology, new everything to kind of optimize for the player. And the feedback that we've been given over the last 2 or 3 years to adapt and build more, I think that'd be big. So bats, I would say, just from the dad side, the Avenge Pro 3 for U-Trip has been just a big time bomb dropper, and better really awaits for that one. People are gonna be excited about that. We have a Strato 2, our alloy bat, in USA and BB Core that's coming out, and we also have an Avenge Pro 3 hybrid in USA and BB Core. That's just a heck of a lot of fun.
Yeah, Nadia, I think you covered the the whole gamut there. Of course, you know, where we really see our strengths in that slow pitch category, like we discussed earlier, along with, you know, capitalizing on some of this great momentum we have with the Avenge Pro composite and U-Trip, and just kind of the wide array of products, I would say, that we can offer in the USA space. So we've definitely tried to widen our line to capture some more players, and, you know, capture more barrel lengths, for example, in slow pitch, and add more drop weights to our, you know, to our hybrid and USA bat, and then you know, the barrels are always getting hotter in U-Trip baseball, so there's nowhere to go but up from there. So we're excited to release another bat here this year.
Yeah, and our pros, our slow pitch pros, are going pretty wild over that Inferno and new Scorch bats that we have coming out in slow pitch. So it's been a lot of fun to see.
So you guys have those releases. Kyle, you've been working, you know, for the last couple of years on these bats. What's the toughest part about making a new bat?
We, luckily for us, like we discussed earlier, we can kind of, you know, we can imagine things a little bit differently. So we like to think we have it a little bit easier than some competitors, taking advantage of the directionality of our handle and being able to come up with new technologies. So there isn't really one thing that honestly jumps off the page. Obviously, you know, performance standards change over the years, and every league has its maximum performances, and that's what it's all about. It's meeting those maxes, and you know, producing the best bat for a player for whatever league he's in. So trying to, you know, satisfy the player on the field while also satisfying, you know, the beautiful lab restraints.
Yeah, I think as a small team, you kind of close that gap of feedback, right? And I think one of the biggest challenges of the bigger companies probably is getting the feedback that they see on the field from all of their players, and then bringing that back into the lab with the design. For us, we're kind of together. So all that feedback that we're getting on the field for USA is going to be very different than slow pitch, who's going to be very different than U-Trip and BB Core and so on. Customizing the bats and the products and the design for those specific categories and kind of making that happen is definitely a challenge. But with what we have with our team and kind of that less red tape, I guess, would allow us to evolve a little bit faster.
Yeah, that's something that we definitely don't take lightly. We're all pretty proud of the fact that, you know, at least on our whole product team, especially when we get new prototypes in or we do design a new bat, the first thing we do is we're taking it out to the cage and hitting on hit tracks. We're not just necessarily.
Kyle's going to brag about he's going to brag about his exit speed.
Yeah, exactly.
We have all of our engineers hit. Yeah, I guarantee you our engineer team could out hit any other engineer team, and if we want to have a duel or something, we'll go. But yeah.
I think Just Bats could host that.
I think it'd be amazing.
Bring them all together.
It sounds like incredible content, and it'd be good. Kyle,
we just got rid of our batting cage, though. We had an opportunity right here, but we just got rid of it. We had hit tracks and everything.
Can we just go to the Royals field and just hit live on the field? Can you guys?
I don't see any problem with that.
I mean, why not?
No problem at all. Everyone's distracted by the Chiefs across the parking lot anyway.
Just go into the fountain. That'd be perfect.
That'd be perfect. That sounds like where Kyle's going to hit the balls anyway. So
that's right.
I mean, we might as well get somebody there to start with.
The bar's been set pretty high. I'm afraid it's going to be a little disappointing when you see me.
That's great. I mean, that it's tremendous to have your bat engineers that are swinging the bats. It's not a, oh, what happened here? What happened there? You're feeling it. You're experimenting with it. Of
course,
that feels like a great advantage.
Yeah, and part of the whole engineering process, of course, is we're still, you know, we're getting tons of players in here, and we still want to make sure that we're making products that the market actually desires. We're not just kind of back here tinkering and saying, here's what I think would be cool. But with that being said, it's definitely is a huge advantage for us to design something and then be able to kind of feel that difference for yourself and you know, bring that into your future decision making.
Yeah, that makes a ton of sense. I mean, all of what you guys are doing makes a lot of sense while also challenging a ton of the norms. This question that I have lined up here, this might apply more to Trevor just because you talked about your son's playing on his team and all that. But what's the most common thing you hear from the hitters after they swing an axe bat?
I'd say from the beginning, the most common thing is it feels so good, right? There's a lot of talk about feel initially when you first grip it. And then when you start taking a swing, it just feels more natural and you have more control, like it's supposed to be there. And when people switch back or they hold a round handle, you can feel the difference instantly, right? Like that it's different. So I would say first, it's kind of the feel of the handle and the smoothness of the swing. But I think that it just gets a little bit easier, right? Like one less thing you have to worry about, being able to control your barrel through the zone. I think most bats, you either have to sacrifice bat speed or control. It's one or the other. With axe, you get both. You can swing as fast as you want, but while maintaining your barrel the whole time. So I think a lot of people who are facing live pitchers, there's a huge difference with an axe bat. Like it's great that in batting practice, you can hit a round handle as far as you want or the barrel. But at the end of the day, your swing is the key to how successful you're going to be against a pitcher as you get higher and higher up the level. So one, I think the advantage of a lot of people say, I want to use an axe handle in a game, right? Second, it's if we're talking about that Avenge Pro 3, the new one that just came out, the barrel is just hot and it's just stupid. And it's just a lot of fun. Like growing up, everybody wants to hit a home run and hitting should be fun. And it doesn't have to be serious every second. It doesn't always have to be about getting out. We know we do get out, but that barrel is hot as heck. It's huge. It's really colorful and it's fun. So for me, it's really exciting to see, like, again, I love baseball. We're in this business, all of us here. To see people get really excited over a bat and then want to keep playing and then to let their parents still work with them and play is amazing. And if it's just full circle, that's kind of what you dream of as a parent and as a company, that you're connecting with families and kids are loving to play the game and hopefully hitting some bombs. So I think that's my long-winded answer to that.
That's great.
And that's axe.
I mean, that's the goal right there. I mean, it's at the end of the day, it's baseball. It's fun. Let's have a bat that we like to swing. Let's, feel good when we step into the box and, let's see what we can do.
And we want our kid to come back and say, like, Dad, will you throw batting practice to me or even be excited, to go play. So we've been checking off those boxes with these new bats like crazy. So I think everybody will appreciate that and would be crazy not to try it themselves.
Beautiful. And I think that sounds like a big kudos to you, Kyle, and the
whole team,
the engineers you guys have there.
Yeah, a whole team back here, not just myself, but yeah, it's fun to be able to make a product, that's just, contributing to people having fun and enjoy on a baseball field, which is really what we're all about here. So
beautiful. Well, I think you guys have touched on it a little bit already, but I wanted to make note of this before we get out of here. But you all just recently unveiled a completely new branding. You're taking Axe in what appears to be a new direction. So what can we expect in 2024 and then the seasons to follow?
I think it's really, we've evolved over the last 10 years, right? We started, taking on this new challenge of something that was brand new and figuring out what we needed to do. Now that we know that we're at kind of the higher level as a company with what we're doing, that logo kind of screams to, the next level, the next step of what we're doing and kind of what we're all proud of and excited for, where, not only are the bats great, but the look copies that and players feel that on the field also. And we do as a company as well. So I think that's a really exciting, fun thing. But then I think the second part is it's really not a rebrand from our focus as a company of making sure that we're making the best products for the player and also being able to make the best products in slow pitch for in baseball, for the USSSA player, knowing the customer, knowing their needs and making sure that it's exciting and successful with them and really making it feel personal. Like we're a family company and feel like a community when you're swinging our bat. And, we want to make sure that we do its best for everybody else. So I think it's just a lot of excitement and being fun and bold and being loud. And that's kind of what we're going to focus on for this year.
Yep, definitely a player first. That's kind of the whole ground up of the rebrand here is we don't want to release a product just because we think the market might want it. It's, taking feedback from our peers around here, from players from the field, and creating something that people can be proud of. So,
and hitting bombs into fountains, right? That's
exactly.
what we want. It's a great tagline, right? It's perfect.
That is perfect. I mean, you guys, I love what you guys are doing over there. I think we're seeing it start to trickle in, and we're seeing others, with imitation comes flattery,
right?
And we're seeing others, start to look at your handle and go, oh, they've got something over there.
Yeah.
I know you have the patent, so it does kind of hold a little bit of defense for you, but we're seeing it across the market.
It's flattery where, I think even the last 5-6 years ago, we were just talking about this where everybody said that really calling out Axe, saying that, this isn't going to catch on. And now you see all the other brands trying to copy ours in some way in terms of what we've been saying all along. Like, we are going to do what's best for the player's swing. And I think it's validation more than anything. It proves that we were onto the right thing and that we're trying to do it better. And people are trying to do what they can to come somewhat close. But, with what we can do and what we've been working on for so long, we can really maximize what everybody's doing. So I would really rephrase it to, it's a compliment, and we notice it, and it's really validating what we're doing.
Yeah. And we're never satisfied as well too. I think is the other thing, we have the patent, luckily, or the IP, and that still is, pretty wide ranging, and we're not done developing handles here. Like you've seen with the new flared handle and all the differences between our slow pitch bats and youth bats and BB core bats. We're always trying to make sure that the player is getting what they want, and that's not going to stop here anytime soon. From the handle through the barrel. So,
well, and we have the patents on the barrel too, right? Yeah. So that works too.
Yeah, that's fantastic. Okay, the last thing I want to get to before we take off here is at the end of every episode of Batter Up, we always play a game of Turn 2 with our guests. So how this works, I'm going to give you one or the other. You give me your initial response. So it's almost a guttural reaction.
Yep.
I'll say two things. You say it. We'll go Trevor and then Kyle, just to make sure we don't overlap too much with the audio.
Are you choosing yours too?
Yeah, I'll say mine at the end.
All right.
I'll let you guys know.
All right.
Okay, so the first one, Fenway or Wrigley?
Well, it's easy. Cubs fan for life, and it's Wrigley Field. I mean, there's nothing better than a day game at Wrigley. Live in Chicago, man.
You're not going to like me for this one. It's Fenway for me because I've never been to Wrigley, so I only got one way to go there.
Well, I guess you have to come visit, and we'll do it this summer. So
no kidding.
We'll change that next podcast we do. It'll be an easy change.
Yeah.
I go Wrigley, so that's just me. Day games or night games?
Day game. Day game at Wrigley. And is it warm out? Yes. If it's warm, definitely go with it.
Yeah, day game vibes. Can't beat it.
Oh, get me under the lights. Get me under the lights. I'll play a night game.
Oh, we're playing it. I thought we were watching. Okay.
Oh, no, you're playing. You're playing. Giraffes or elephants?
Elephant.
I'll go giraffe.
Oh, tiebreaker. I'll go elephant. As my wife told me, elephants find humans adorable, and I've never been able to change my perspective on elephants since. Pedro Martinez or Randy Johnson?
I was once at a game where Randy Johnson pitched, and he got mad at the PA announcer for playing music. And so he stopped the game and just lit up the PA announcer. And it was like 13. I thought it was the coolest thing ever. So I'm going with Randy Johnson. And he killed a bird. So Randy Johnson.
Yeah, it's Randy. As a Seattle boy, it's a no-brainer for me. It's Randy.
Yeah, I'll make it a clean sweep here as well. Randy Johnson. Grand Slam or steal home?
Everybody wants to hit home runs. I'm going home. Grand Slam easily.
Yeah, it's dingers.
We're a bat company. We're not running. We're jogging.
Man, no, I'd rather steal home. I think there's something special about it.
Okay,
it's only worth one run, but it's I don't know. I think it's cool.
Are you fast?
Catch a home. Oh, that's why it's even more impressive if I do it.
Well, then that's the answer.
No,
there you go.
Okay, catch a home run on opening day or throw out the first pitch in a playoff game.
It's all about the championships, playoffs, man. You gotta go with anything involved in playoffs. Opening day is wonderful, but playoffs all the way.
I think I'm catching a home run just because, I'd be bouncing a first pitch almost certainly. So just for my own pride and ego, catching a home run is nothing but pure joy. You got to deal with the trauma of a first pitch for quite a while.
Worked out for Henry Rowan Gardner, right? So might as well catch that.
Yeah, I'm going to catch a home run too. I'll take the 50-50 chance that it's my team and I'm excited.
That's true.
Otherwise, I'm in Wrigley and I'm throwing it back, and that's cool as is. Hot dog or nachos?
Again, Chicago, does it just have mustard on it or is it ketchup? So
definitely
hot dog.
That's nachos for me.
Yeah, I go nachos as well. And then the last one, Axe bats or any other bats?
There isn't another bat. It's either Axe or round, right? So Axe all the way.
That's beautiful. Kyle, Trevor, thank you guys so much for coming on. You guys have been awesome. I think you guys were able to shine a lot of light onto what it is you're doing over there. We'd love to have you on again sometime. This was great. Hope you guys enjoyed yourself.
Yeah, thanks for what you're doing. We appreciate it.
You guys rock. Thank you all. If you're ever interested in picking up axe bats, be sure to swing by JustBats.com. We've got all your needs on all your axe bats. And as you can see, we work directly with Axe, and we've got great relationship with them, and they're doing some awesome things. So thank you all for
the new ones.
Check out the 2024s. They should be live when this airs. They should be live at Just Bats. So be sure to look at those. Those are going to be really exciting this summer. So once again, thank you guys for coming on.